Autoline Live from Woodward Avenue is brought to you by our signature sponsor, Dodge, Born Dodge, and Mopar. For more information, visit mopar.com, and also by TI Automotive, Fluid Thinking.
Got to thank everybody for joining us yet again at the Woodward Avenue Dream Cruise. This has got to be one of the most incredible live automotive events in the world. It's Friday afternoon. The cars are already starting to back up. You watch as this webcast goes on. We're going to have more and more classic cars behind us. And if we got a lineup for you today, we're at the Chrysler display at 13 Mile and Woodward Avenue. We've got all kinds of speakers that we'll be talking to, including Richard Cox, the director of the Dodge brand, Tricia Hecker, the director of marketing for Mopar. We're going to have Richard Rawlings, the star of the Discovery Channel's Fast and Loud. We're going to have three other experts, Steve Pasteiner, Jim Hall, and Mark Phelan. And boy, we're going to get going right now with Mr. Automotive Encyclopedic Knowledge himself, Jim Hall.
Hi, John. How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Wow, a zoomy minivan.
Well, no, that's an oxymoron.
I know, but it actually went by, so you can see everything at the Woodward Dream Cruise, including the zoomy minivan.
So we got to talk about the Dream Cruise and the cars here, but first, I know a lot of our viewers have said, hey, where's Jim Hall? What's he doing these days? And I think the Cadillac V logo on your head is a little bit of a giveaway.
Well, I'm driving a Cadillac, I'm driving a CTS-V wagon with a manual transmission right now, and it's purple. I ordered it, so
purple?
Yeah, it's, well, Majestic Plum, okay, is the proper name for the color.
That's great.
There were two of them built with manual transmissions. I got one, but I've always liked the car because it is absolutely the craziest car anybody on earth could make, and I was fortunate enough to get an order in on one before they turned them off. It's out of production now.
Wow, that I was not aware of. I knew it was going to go out. I didn't know it was yet.
Went out third week in April, I think was the last build week. So why do I know this stuff?
I know. Well,
and there's a V Coupe. There'll be a 2015 version of that. So that one continues.
So here we are at the Dream Cruise yet again. Why?
Yep.
Because we love cars. We love people who love cars. And boy, there's more of those people and more of those cars than at any other event I can think of.
If you love cars, if you even are moderately interested in cars and you have never done this, you need to be here.
At least once. At least once in your life.
Absolutely. This is one of those bucket list things for cars. And the thing is, you think about it, there are some, but there really aren't that many. Okay? There aren't. Pebble Beach weekend, Indianapolis 500, Grand Prix of Monaco. You got to do it.
Yeah.
There are a few others, but the Woodward Dream Cruise is right there. And the other one is, of all of those, it's the one that is free. And probably
that's why there's a million people here.
Exactly. And it's not that a million people are cheapskates. Okay, I did not want to infer that people would not pay for the incredible value you see of things coming down the road like this.
But
it is free, so that gets probably 500,000 there.
So what are you on the lookout for? What do you hope to see?
I'm hoping to see I'm hoping to see another cord.
A cord?
And
not a kit cord?
No, a real honest to goodness cord. There's a guy last year, when we were doing the show live last year, came by a couple of times. He had an 812 Phaeton, which is the 4-seat convertible last year car. It was gorgeous. And I've seen him driving around this summer. So this is a car that gets driven. And you have to understand, driving a cord, it's incredibly valuable. I don't want to say they're fragile, but they're an early front-wheel drive car, and there's stuff in there that isn't quite bulletproof. And to see one driving is just amazing, and it's in fabulous condition. It's not like it's a beater, okay?
Yeah. Some of my favorites are not cars. I love seeing military vehicles that come up and down here. I like seeing the old ice cream trucks, garbage trucks.
Yeah, well, garbage truck to me, I always remember them as being GTs. We always refer to them as GTs, because GT didn't have to mean Gran Turismo or Gran Touring. It also means garbage truck. And if you told someone this is an 11-liter, 2-seat Gran Touring GT, they would like, oh my gosh. Yeah, well, it's a truck, okay.
Yeah. What else? What else you want to say?
There's the damn Miata.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Now, if Bob was here, or if I think he's watching out in California, he will probably be very upset about that.
Of you saying that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. I can say that. Nobody else can say that, but I can say that.
Being his brother, being the guy who set the original design of the Miata, you can say that.
Yeah, because I technically am the uncle of the Miata, which is something I don't put on my resume. For, I think, relatively obvious reasons.
So a lot of American muscle, tremendous. Oh, we got a question here from the audience. Let's bring it in, Sean.
Yeah, no problem. We got one here from Paul Sanders. He says, if you could cruise Woodward in any car, what would it be?
Ooh, Jim, what would you cruise in? Got to be a convertible, I think.
Let me think here.
I'll tell you what I want. I want a 59 Impala. I love those cat eye tail
I'll tell you
lights and
something.
the fans.
We're on the same thing. I would want a 61 Impala SS. I really would.
61.
First year of the SS, and it was just a trim package.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't necessarily be hot, but it looked cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, but it didn't have that sculpture, the 59.
It didn't have fins. I agree.
Yeah.
The 59 is pretty spectacular. And there's another one I put on that list that's also a Chevy, and that would be, seriously, an original 1955 Nomad in black. It was the only color that was a monochrome, but the Nomad, that car to me was always amazing. It was also, 55 was the first year you could get factory air conditioning in a Chevrolet, and it cost more than 25% the price of the whole car. It was a low take rate option.
I want a half track. I want a half track with a 50 cal in the back with the belt and the bullets, and that would be my cruising vehicle for, because it's an open truck, you could have all your friends in the back of it.
John, don't you think that the city fathers up and down the street here would be a little ticked off about the way the tracks would tear up the concrete?
The reason I'm saying it is a couple of years ago I saw one. I haven't seen it in a while. I want it back.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Oh, what's that?
That looks like it's a Zimmer. What it is, it's one of these retro classic cars where they would take the body off of a current car, and I believe that one is a GMA car, and they do it on a stretched frame of some sort. Clenay were the guys that started that. They used an MG midget body, and it just sort of got out of control. Unfortunately, the retro classic is no longer with us.
The retro classic.
Retro classics, that's what they were called. It was sort of disturbing to see them, because it was almost like somebody saw a car, called a guy on the telephone on a long distance call and described it and said, "Design what I'm telling you now." You know, it's like cooking over the phone. It doesn't work.
No, that's right. That's exactly right.
And for similar reasons, we're passionate about food. We should be passionate about cars. And a lot of that passion doesn't come about. Collector car of the future across the street there, a Saab 9.3.
You know, that car doesn't do much for me, but the last Saab 9.5 was a beautiful car.
It was a Saab again.
Yeah.
It actually was. It was an amazing car, and it's just unfortunate the way things happen, but it was genuinely, and it was actually, the front-wheel drive 2-liters were pretty darn good automobiles.
And now American Axle has developed, they started this with Saab, sort of hybrid where they put an electric motor on the rear axle.
Yeah.
So it's still front-wheel drive, but you click in that, and so you got all-wheel drive and or a hybrid.
Traction assist.
Yeah.
Ooh, a Beaumont. Oh my gosh, it's a Beaumont SD 969 or 396.
Okay.
That's a Canadian Chevelle.
I was just going to say, I recognize that as a Chevelle.
And it was specifically sold at Pontiac dealers in Canada, because the time was in Canada there were more Pontiac dealers than Chevrolet dealers.
Look at this ratty Dodge.
That is definitely ratty. Although it's interesting, the things they decided to sort of mold in with the bodywork and the things they decided not to. I just don't get that one. Another collector car of the future, which I don't think the cameras will be able to get, is a Saturn Sky.
Oh, it's still a pretty car.
It still is a pretty car, and it's like, you'll always hear interesting exhausts here, and most of them pretty good. Some of them a little too loud.
A little too, and the cops really crack down if you start to do anything. Though, I got to tell you, and this goes back a few years ago, I got a standing ovation for one of the burnouts I did down at 9 Mile in Woodward.
You did a burnout?
Yes, I did. It was at night. They had a whole bunch of people watching. In fact, they were even putting bleach down on the pavement, and it was cool.
Whoa.
And there were no cops around.
Well,
so.
I figured that out, or else they were there to allow you to do it. But one of the two. It was not. You wouldn't do that with cops around, I wouldn't think.
No, not with the cops around.
I mean, you have to understand, the first thing I do when I get in my car is turn off the daytime running lights and turn off the traction control. Which, as it turns out, half of that is highly problematic this week.
Yeah, you don't want to do that this week. Not with so many people around.
No.
Hey, look, we got to go to break right now, but I know I want to catch up with you towards the end of the show, so don't go away.
I'll be back, I won't.
Watch out. Okay.
See you, John.
Real good, folks. We got to give a good shout out to our sponsors.
Horsepower is like money. It won't make you happy. Wait, no. Yes, it will.
Where you want your first scratch, Craig? Your choice.
What are you doing with that key, Jake?
I'm thinking of scratching your car.
Well, you should stop thinking that.
You're a little bit too precious with it.
Don't touch my dart, Jake.
Come on, it's for your own good. You'll thank me later. Move out of the way so you don't get hurt. I mean it. It's gonna happen.
Jake.
Might as well be from a
Step
friend.
back, Jake.
From Shanghai to the Silicon Valley, the auto industry may make news around the globe, but there's only one spot to get your daily dose. Check out Autoline Daily at Autoline.tv, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. Autoline Daily, for the concise word on everything cars.
Now we're in the Dodge display, and joining me is Richard Cox, the director of the Dodge brand. And Richard, you got to be in heaven, man.
It doesn't get any better than this. Beautiful weather, all these Dodge vehicles, and about 1.5 million people are going to be here during the Woodward Dream Cruise, the 20th anniversary for the cruise, 100th anniversary for Dodge. So we couldn't be more proud to be here.
No kidding, and we're going to show our audience what all displays you guys have got here. But tell us what the Dodge part of it is.
So for Dodge here, we've got overall in the Chrysler Group here, we've got about 80 vehicles on display. Classic cars, new cars that are coming to market, and it's right here at 13 Mile and Woodward, and including, of course, the new Hellcat vehicles. So we've got the Charger Hellcat and the new Challenger Hellcat. We've got live bands that are here. We've got Misters. We've got Richard Rawlings from Fast and Loud.
And we're going to get to him later, too.
Yes, so he's going to be out here. He's going to be doing signed T-shirts. So if you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of cars, you want to come out here, check it out, listen to the music, get your gifts, and just enjoy yourself. We've even got a driving simulator here as well. So you get to climb behind the wheel of a brand new 2015 Challenger and put your skills to the test.
Skills what, drag racing it?
You get to go autocrossing in it. So you get to really show your skills. And the great thing about it, full simulator, the seat moves, it makes sound, and the great part is steering wheel paddle shifters, they work.
Cool, yes. Way cool. Hey, I know we got some questions already from the audience here. So yeah, go ahead, Sean.
We got Junior Glotus 7 via Twitter wants to know, when can we order the Charger Hellcat?
Yeah, well, it's been a phenomenal response. So earlier this week at Vincetta Garage, right here in Woodward, during the Woodward Dream Cruise, we announced the new 2015 Dodge Charger Hellcat. It is the most powerful, fastest, and quickest.
Faster than the Challenger.
Isn't it crazy? 11.0 seconds in the quarter mile right out of the showroom, and it's got 707 horsepower. It is a vehicle that also runs to 204 miles per hour. So it's going in production in Q1 of next year, so we'll be opening up
sometime next summer, maybe be in the dealerships.
Oh, it'll be in the spring. It'll be in the spring.
Way cool.
Just in time for all the snow to go away and you to put that 707 horsepower down to the pavement.
Have you announced the price on that yet?
Not on the
You want to make
Charger
some news
Hellcat?
here right now?
Yeah. But I tell you what, on the Challenger Hellcat, I'm still getting a tremendous number of people asking the question, how much for the Challenger Hellcat? And it still shocks them. 707 horsepower, $59,995. So phenomenal horsepower for the dollar.
You know, I was here earlier this week, too, with an event with Mark Royce from General Motors, and asked him about the 707 horsepower and said, what are you going to do, man? What about
Stop taunting him.
Yeah, but he had nothing but compliments for you guys. He said, you know, they're motivating us to try even harder. So
well, you come out to an event like this, and this is what inspires us, you know, and you might have heard that from Mark Trossel, Tim Kaniska, our CEO, who spoke earlier at Vincetta, but this is what inspires us. We come out here, there's just, you know, muscle cars coursing through our veins as much as anyone else that's here. We love it. It's what we drive. It's what fuels us. And the designers, the engineers, we all wanted to build the absolute best car we could, regardless of what the competition was doing. There really is no competition for a four-door car that runs at 204 miles
like
an hour.
that. No
Not
way.
Like that.
Hey, Sean's got another question from a viewer here.
Yeah, this one's from Right Night. He says, am I seeing things, or is that T-tops on a Challenger?
Where are we seeing that?
I don't know.
I don't think there's no T-tops on the Challenger, so we'll announce that now.
Must be some of the stripes or something. Yeah. You got another one there, Sean?
Yes, we do. Jeb wants to know, there's Hellcat's version of the Challenger and Charger. Is Dart next?
Well, official breaking news, there will not be a Dart Hellcat, so...
that would only be a 300-mile-an-hour car.
Right, but we got the full lineup that's out here. So we've got the entire 2015 Challenger lineup here. We've also got a Charger RT, plus, of course, the Hellcat that's out here. The Viper. So we've got all the new packages that are out here for everyone, all the enthusiasts. Come on out and check it out.
You know what I love? Tim Kuniskis has got a great line. He said, you know, if you missed the last muscle car era, don't miss this one.
Yes.
What is it, man, that cars like this are so popular today?
It is. You know, yesterday we were down here. There was 65 Pro owners that came out. Today we're going to have about 120 Charger and Challenger from all eras, all years, coming down here to Woodward's. I mean, it's just every single age and demographic, they're commenting on this. They are reignited with passion and with enthusiasm. Whoever is saying that young people today aren't inspired by the automobile and love cars, they haven't come on down here. There's absolutely a phenomenal passion for automobiles here. So it's great to see.
But these are your people. I mean, this is your crowd, right?
Well, some of them drove 1,800 miles. I met a couple yesterday, drove 1,800 miles to be here to experience all of this. Yes, they love Mopars, but I mean, they just love cars. And the stories we get to hear from everyone that's out here, it's phenomenal.
Wow, unbelievable. So you're going to get a lot out of this, says Dodge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's done phenomenal wonders. Last month, Dodge was the most searched vehicle, or most searched automotive brand.
That's got to be because of Hellcat.
Well, it's the Hellcat fever that is spreading across, but at the same time, the number 3 top indexing nameplates were Dart, Charger, and Challenger. So Dart's getting residual benefit from it as well.
No kidding.
We're expecting the same kind of thing here on the Charger. It's just remarkable, the enthusiasm behind this car, and I think also just the guts it takes to bring a car like this to market.
Yeah. Sean, you got another one there? Nope, we're out of live questions for the moment. So what else? How do you follow up on an event like this? Okay, you come out here, you're here for the weekend and all that. How do you keep the momentum going?
We're going to keep going to multiple events. So we've got a number of events going on throughout the summer, and we're going to, like we've always got our show streets teams here. They go out with all of our Power Rally Tour. So it actually gets customers behind the wheel into our vehicles, and they get to experience the passion, the performance that we engineer into these cars.
That's good. Richard, thanks so much for stopping by and talking all about what you got out here. I'm dying to get into this.
John, before, talk about the simulator.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Fill in more. You talked a bit about it, but talk more about it.
So this is a chance.
Let's show the audience what we're talking about.
So this gives our customers then the chance. They can line up. They can get into the simulator here in a 2015 Dodge Challenger with a 392 Hemi shaker. 485 horsepower, 38,495, but they get to experience...
Now, wait a minute. So, I mean, this thing's leaning. It's, the nose is going down.
Fully motorized, the seat's motorized, the suspension is motorized. They get to climb behind the wheel and really experience. You'll notice he's using the real steering wheel to steer and control this car.
Oh, my God. I got to try this.
Paddle shifters work on it as well, so if he was to use those versus fully automatic, it would also change. So he's having a couple challenges there, but I'd say he's doing very well.
Yeah, because the fenders are not bending in real life.
That's right. But I mean, it really gets the person that thrill behind the wheel, put up their time. It's just a fun little, extra that we're putting out here. We launched this earlier in the year at the New York Auto Show. A phenomenal response from our enthusiasts. We want to bring it out here to Woodward.
Oh my gosh, the line for this is going to be around the block.
Get out there early. It's going to be 9 a.m. on tomorrow to 9 p.m. We are here all day with stars, with cars. No better place to be.
Yeah, I need one of those in my living room or the den.
Yeah, I'll take one too.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else? Okay, Richard, I'm going to cut you loose right now, but thanks for your time, man. This has been awesome.
Excellent. Enjoy the day.
Oh, yeah. No, I got more people to talk to. In fact, here he is right now, Mark Fielding.
You're your next victim. How are you, John? Good to see you.
Car critic from the Detroit Free Press. And Freak.com also streaming this event.
Absolutely.
So,
happy to be with you.
Have you walked around here?
I have. I love it. I'm being reminded of all the great old stuff that Chrysler and Dodge got in their heritage they can tap into.
So you want to show me some of the stuff that you found that you like?
Sure.
For just a little bit.
We've got all of the Challengers, the Hellcat, which I think that's a brilliant idea, reviving that name. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see with all the great old kind of lovable names they've got. What else will they use? I mean, there's beautiful Barracudas over there. There's Super Bees. I mean, Chrysler's got such a wealth of names that people love and things that lend themselves to happy little names, what else will they do? I mean, the Challenger convertible that they've got here, in fact, of the about 2,171 Challenger convertibles that were built in the entire world, we've got two of them. We're standing between two of them right now. Yes. So, I mean, the display that they've got out here is absolutely wonderful. And I love the fact that they're highlighting some of the other brands as well. I mean, we've got a Willys Jeep down here.
Yeah, no, let's walk around. What I like, too, is these are all customer cars. These are not out of the Chrysler Museum or anything like that.
Absolutely.
These are cars that real hardcore owners have brought down for the Dream Cruise.
Well, and you can see some of the before and after photos. Some of these owners, they really just, they picked a skeleton and built a car out of it, and they're wonderful. And the Power Wagon that we've got here,
just way cool.
It's fantastic. I mean, that's the original monster truck.
Yeah.
And again, that's a name that would work anywhere, anytime. And as they kind of revitalize the Dodge brand, that's part of what I'm so interested in going forward. What are the things that they pick out of the heritage that work with the new kind of cars they're doing?
Well, it's fascinating to me that Dodge is now going to concentrate on performance and just become really a performance brand.
And how do they define it, I think, is going to be the most interesting thing, because if you're going to be a volume brand, you need a car like the Dart. You need cars that can sell in high numbers. So what do you make the definition of performance in the 21st century for a compact sedan?
Yeah.
That's going to be fascinating.
It is
and for the crossovers they're going to build as well. I mean, Dodge, the next couple of years, as the first of the new vehicles developed entirely with Fiat hit the road, it's going to be one of the most interesting evolutions that I think we'll ever see.
I agree. And speaking of that, I know DJ already showed it, but this Willys Jeep 45, it's just cool to see the original.
It's so, and it is in such stunning condition.
Well, these things all look like, frame-up restorations.
Oh, it must be. But I mean, the paint was not that good when it rolled out of the factory. I mean, wherever this was, whether it was Toledo or who knows where, that kind of factory of paint did not exist in 1945.
That's right.
But it's a gorgeous car, and again, it's a tribute to the stuff that they've got as Jeep gets ready to introduce their smaller compact vehicle in a couple of years.
The Renegade.
What are they? There's one between. The Renegade is the subcompact, and there's going to be a compact between Renegade and Liberty in, I think, about 2 years. And what name do they use? I mean, Willys is out there, and if you can come up with a vehicle that's good enough to live up to this.
Jeepster is another one that they used to use.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so I mean, the possibilities are endless. Yeah. Oh, and again, one of the things I was reminded of here, the original Fiat 500s that are out here.
I know.
I mean, it's like objects are smaller than they actually appear in the mirror. This looks like a toy car. You could fit it inside the current 500, and the current 500 is a small car, but it's gorgeous. It's such a perfect little design.
Yeah. No, it is a cool car, and it's amazing to me. The new one really isn't anything like it, and yet it's totally reminiscent of it.
That's it. It's not retro in the sense of reviving it. It's a modern car that says all of the same things and accomplishes all of the same things as the original.
Yeah.
It really is. Both of them are close to perfect designs, I think.
Yeah. Let's see.
And one other, talking about names that went away, the AMC AMX.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I had my first couple of cars when I was in high school and college were hand-me-down AMC Hornets. So you may consider me disabled when it comes to viewing AMCs, but I've got a real affection for the brand, and I think of things like this and some of the goofy old names that they had as well. The Hornet, that great gremlin badge.
Yeah.
There's just a lot that could be done, and you see so much of it out here on the roads that regular people still cherish, and it reminds you that there's all this potential.
Yeah. One thing, just quick to finish on this AMX, American Motors. I mean, this was never a Chrysler product. Chrysler built Challengers and Cudas and the like to compete against it. So kudos to them to, this is a company they ended up buying, but they've got an AMX here, so that's cool.
And there's no obvious payback to them for showing this.
That's right.
So you're right. This is just because they like cars.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Sean, you got a question there?
Yeah, I do have a question for you here, Mark. Harry would like to know, what's the coolest car you've seen at the cruise?
Oh man, that is an almost impossible question to answer. There's so many. I'll tell a couple of things off the top of my head. I just came from the Vintage Emergency Vehicles show in Ferndale, which every year is my favorite.
Out about that too.
I love that. It's my favorite subset of the cruise every year.
What's there.
It's old police cars, fire trucks, military vehicles, ambulances. It's fantastic. The local fire department gives kids bucket rides in a ladder truck. It's just wonderful. It's retired cops and hobbyists come from all over the Midwest with the cars, and they just have them, and they're only there the afternoon of Friday, because tomorrow that section in Ferndale turns into Mustang Alley with all the Mustang clubs. So it's just a Friday afternoon special, and it's one of my favorite things every year. Other stuff that I've seen, I noticed a trend that I really like this year. A lot of it on newer cars, frankly, but people are doing some really interesting things with their own modifications with LED lights. I've seen a lot of real interesting colors and
on older cars.
No, many new cars. Some of the older cars as well, but the ones that have caught my eye are new cars where they're putting rings in different colors around headlights. They're adding LED trim lines. So that stuff I find very interesting. And I guess also there's a guy named Snapper Shoemaker from Pittsburgh who has been up here a few years.
Snapper Shoemaker. There's a name.
Young guy, probably 30. He's got a hot rod that has got a Caterpillar C12 diesel in it, an over-the-road truck diesel in it. The car itself is about the size of a Barracuda, probably. It's car-sized, but it's got an over-the-road semi-diesel. The frame is an old pickup of some sort. It's got 450 horsepower, 1,300 pound-feet of torque. It is bright yellow. The engine is exposed. There's a cab that he rides around in. He drives it up from Pittsburgh every year. Right now, that is probably the farthest out thing I've seen, and maybe my favorite.
That's way cool. Do we have another question here?
Just one more here. Max Power would like to know, is there a car that you really want to see here that you haven't?
It's funny. I was just saying to John, some of the kind of orphan brands I have not seen a whole lot this year yet from Studebaker, and I always kind of look forward to seeing the Studebakers. And I'm surprised, while we're here at the Chrysler stand, I got to say I'm surprised with the Alfa Romeo 4C hitting the road a little bit later this year. I'm sort of surprised they haven't salted a few of them into the
good point
drives out here. So those are the two things that I wish I'd seen that I haven't. How about you?
Yeah, well. I keep talking about that 59 Impala Coupe that I want to see. So one might be going by before we get this show done. But Mark, we got to take a quick break. I know we're going to catch up with you at the end of the show with Jim Hall and Steve Pasteiner too. And we're going to get to Steve in a little bit. So thanks. We'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you very much, John.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
There are cars your parents would recommend you drive. There are cars your driving instructor who taught you the finer points of parallel parking would recommend you drive. And then there are the cars your crazy uncle, the guy who introduced you to speed metal and gave you fireworks for your birthday, would recommend you drive. You wouldn't want to let down your uncle, would you?
What's up, Jake?
That depends, man. What are you doing?
Just cruising around on my new ride.
Oh, the one I'm not supposed to touch, right?
You got it.
Guess what? I'm touching it right now, Craig.
What are you talking about, Jake?
With my voice.
That doesn't make any sense.
You let me in, man, by answering, and I like it in here.
You're not touching it. Touch is physical. Your voice isn't physical.
My sound waves are pouring out of your speakers, penetrating every cubic.
Stop disrespecting her.
Ooh, and the Dart likes it, don't you, Dart?
Get your filthy voice off her, Jake.
There's only one talk show that covers the issues and executives that drive the auto industry. Turn to Autoline This Week, every Friday at Autoline.tv or on your local PBS stations across America. Autoline This Week. You can't get more inside the industry.
You already know that you can listen to Autoline's Industry Insight in places like YouTube and Stitcher, but did you know that you can also listen to it live in your car? It's simple. Just pair your smartphone with your vehicle's Bluetooth connection or plug into the aux jack. Then navigate to Autoline.tv using your phone's browser. Find the show you want to hear and click play, just like you would on your computer. This is Autoline After Hours with John McElroy. It's that easy. Never be disconnected from Autoline's top-notch insider information with Autoline on the go. What you're looking at there is an original Hemi. In fact, with me right now is Tricia Hecker, the head of marketing for the Mopar brand. And Trish, this is a big birthday party for the Hemi engine.
It really is. I mean, what engine can talk about a 50th anniversary? And I mean, this thing is just an amazing, starting back in 1964. And there's such a terrific relationship between Hemi and Mopar. I mean, that's where we were born. When that Hemi started performing out of the drag strips, that's really when we came to life, when people started calling their cars Mopars.
So these two cars have special significance. Tell us the story behind that.
They do. These are two award winners. What we do is we like to go out to the car shows and we like to find really special cars. You know, it's not easy to make a Mopar, right? It is an act of love.
And you told me a little story earlier about that you've got to repeat, about how special a Mopar is, an original.
Yeah. I met a gentleman, his name's Stan, and he's with one of the Mopar clubs, and I was asking him, you know, when does a car stop being a Plymouth or a Dodge and become a Mopar? And he said, it's not about the parts, it's about the act of love. And he said, you know, we used to call those Chevys belly buttons. Am I allowed to tell that part of the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we used to call them belly buttons because anybody could have one, but to make a Mopar is special. And you usually do it, it's the memories about making it. You usually do it with your brother or with your dad or with your best friend and all the hours in the garage. And so what we like to do with this award program is go out and find really special cars that have been restored to their original equipment, or maybe they've been modified to make them even better in the case of our Super Bee over there a little bit. And these are two classic examples of just terrific cars.
So how did these two get selected? Is it their performance or just the kind of components they have on them?
It is about bringing it back to its original condition or modified condition with Mopar content, but it's also about the story and you know, the process of how they went about it. And this year they had to be 426s. They had to be Hemis.
You know, when I was in high school, I had a buddy who had one of these Road Runners, and the joke always was that he could go from Detroit down to Kentucky to get Kentucky Fried Chicken and bring it back before it got cold.
Yeah, he probably could, huh?
Let's look on what else you got here.
Okay,
because you got this rack of components here. We've got what? Camshafts, cylinder heads, exhaust systems, air intakes.
So this is our Scat Pack products. So we have a Stage 1, Stage 2, and Stage 3 performance kits that we're offering for Challengers and for Chargers, also for the Chrysler 300. But, you know, the government wants us to get better and better with fuel economy, but there's still a performance industry out there and people that like to go fast. And so what we're doing with these kits is, you know, with the Stage 1, you can get 18 additional horsepower with the Cat Pack exhaust and cold air intake, and then we've got a flash on the PCM so that the car can fully take advantage of those adjustments. So you've got to
reflash the computer for those modifications.
Yeah. Well, it helps it to understand the Cat Pack and the cold air are there. And then Stage 2, we take it a little farther, we start to add the cylinder heads, and then Stage 3, we actually have a new calibration that'll get you all the way to 58 additional horsepower. So we're super excited about that. I mean, we've got lots of content for the older cars, but it's about the current cars too.
Sure, because you got to keep the heritage moving along. And
absolutely.
You got that with these components.
And not just cars. You know our history is more on the asphalt and, you know, all the drag racing. That's where we started. But when Jeep came into the family, that's when we started to go off-road.
Let's walk down there because we got to show people what you've got here for Jeep.
All right.
And then, you know, you're right. Mopar was so, especially Dodge and Plymouth back in the day, but now you guys are doing a lot with the Jeep brand.
Yeah, it was like a new playground for us when Jeep came into the family in 1987. So, you know, we had to learn dirt as opposed to asphalt. But most recently, we've come out with an entire product line we call Jeep Performance Parts. And one of the first products that we have is a 2-inch lift kit. And that's the first lift kit that has been engineered by the Chrysler Group engineers, by the Jeep engineers, the same guys that, you know, came up with the Wrangler. And that product is going on sale. If 2 inches isn't enough, we've got a 3-inch lift kit. And if you really want to go hog wild, now we've got portal axles, with not just the 44s that'll take you to a Rubicon. It'll take a regular, you know, sport vehicle into a Rubicon, but we've got Dana 60s as well. So you really want those 37-inch tires. I mean, you're going to Moab, you're going on, you know, class 10 trails. We've got those kind of products to help you do that.
And I think you made a key point. it's the engineers who engineered these vehicles in the first place who are doing the mods on it.
Yeah.
So you know this is going to be done right.
Yeah, I mean, people want to have confidence in the fit and the function, and most of all the performance. At the end of the day, they're doing it because they want to go on that Class 10 trail, and we want them to. We want them, I mean, really, at the end of the day, what Mopar is about is helping consumers and drivers be able to do what they want to do with their cars, right? So we kind of follow their wishes and aspirations and make sure that we have the products that help them get there.
Hey, we got a couple of live questions. I know we got one other thing to talk about here, but John, let's come in. What's the first question?
Yeah, a little bit of a difficult one for you. Tim E wants to know, what's your favorite of the most recent Moparized vehicles?
I have to pick one?
Pick one.
Yeah, that's like picking your favorite child.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to say the Dakar, which is actually right over here. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because the Cherokee is still a fairly new product in our portfolio of products. And this is the first Cherokee that we took out on the trails at Moab. And I don't know that people expected us to do that.
And
like, they expect
the
us to do that.
Named after the famous off-road race.
Exactly. They expect us to do that with Wranglers. They've seen us do that with Grand Cherokees, but this was really the first one, and that is the car that we took out on even Hell's Revenge. I mean, it did some of the most classic trails.
I love this paint job that you've got. You know, more of a satin finish to it. I haven't seen that on a Jeep before.
Mark Trossel is the Mopar head designer, and his team's outstanding. They do a great job. If I may add.
Yeah. Okay, now you got to explain what this Jeep hood is about, because it looks to me like it's got a topographical map on it.
Yeah. So, you know, people used to pull their maps out of the glove box and they put it on the hood of the Jeep and
try to figure out where the hell they are.
Yeah, so they knew where they were going, and we thought, you know what if we help them? What if we let them just put the map right on the hood of their car? And so we have a little web experience, and it really is a custom. You tell it what your zip code is, or you tell them, you know, what kind of map you want, and it'll custom create either in a topographical sense or really more in a satellite type sense, and then it prints off a part number. You take
so
that.
You don't have to just have this. You can customize it to your neighborhood or whatever.
To your neighborhood,
favorite trail.
to Woodward, to if you want Paris, you can do that. And just take the part number to the dealer, and the dealer, you know, orders it, and it comes in, and he can do the installation for you.
And these are for Wranglers?
Yes, for Wranglers. Actually, also for Cherokees and for Grand Cherokees.
One last question.
Yeah, hey, we've got another question here.
Yeah, just one more here. Jeff Francis wants to know, do you know what the most popular Mopar accessory is?
Well, it's not a very glamorous one, but one of the most popular is slush mats. I guess it's very practical. I would say maybe some of the next ones would be Ram bed liners and side steps. Those are some of our most popular. If it's Jeep, the 2-inch lift kit is actually going to be one of the top runners, we believe. Depends on the product category.
Yeah, real cool. Trish, thanks so much for your time. Very interesting what you're all doing here at Mopar. What a perfect place to show it all off.
Thank you, John. We always appreciate being with you.
Cool.
Have a great day.
I'm definitely going to do that. In fact, here I'm going to connect up with a good friend of mine, Steve Pasteiner. Here, Steve, why don't you hold that?
Thanks.
And
okay.
Here we are at Woodward on the at the Dream Cruise.
It's great. 20 years of Dream Cruise, and I remember back in the days I did used to run Woodward. Perhaps not all the legal activities, but it was a lot of fun. So that explains my affinity for it through the years.
Yeah, and you've been what, car designer? You do all kinds of specialty
I was with
stuff
GM a number of years, you know, over 20 years, and now I have my own company. It's been for 25 years now, where we do design work and prototypes and concepts and anything that's associated with automobiles. And we have the little store up on Woodward, you know, that's our other...
So, Steve, let's walk out of here. I'm sure you've looked at some of the classic cars that owners have brought in here.
Right.
Take me around to some of your favorites here.
Well, I mean, okay, I'll take them all, you know, but if you look at, for instance, I mean, one of these cars, and...
Yeah, let's talk about this dragster here, because what a monster car.
And, I mean, you need to look at the tires under it, and obviously it's a Hemi, and it's got an incredible... supercharger on it. What is also interesting is obviously you have a roll cage in there, and then when you look at the body, what was more popular with these cars, it was the post car, the number 2 being a post and not a hardtop, and the cars had to rely on the torsional rigidity of the body itself, because these cars will twist the chassis under power, you know, and then you're putting more power to one wheel than the other, then it doesn't go straight. So, you know, this architecture was probably the most popular, and this is obviously the heyday of the Hemi. So
and what year is this? Do you know offhand, roughly?
It should be a 62 or so.
Uh-huh. I was going to guess a 63, but I'm going to go with you.
Maybe it is 63. You're right. Yes. Well, these are the ground-shaking cars. It's just an amazing car. You know.
No doubt about it.
All the way up and down the line, we're looking at, you know, the same pedigree with them, and I heard them running just a minute ago. You know, some of the engines, and it's truly inspiring. You know, you can feel it on your chest, beating on your chest as they're idling along.
Well, this is pretty cool. The one that we were just looking at with the battery in the trunk and the fuel cell too.
Yeah. I mean, the battery would need to be back here for the added weight, you know, and also on the end we are looking at one that 426.
Well, let's go down to that.
If you look at the side view on it, you'll see that somehow the rear wheel has been moved forward on it. So
truly a funny car.
This is the early funny car. When you're looking at the silhouette, and people say, well, that looks kind of funny. Well, the wheels were moved forward for the added weight transfer. So most of the car's weight, or as much of the weight, should be shifted over to the rear wheels, so you can hook up better and accelerate, obviously, to launch the car. And that was, now obviously in today's terms, the funny cars are virtually dragsters with a body. You know, it was an evolution of the cars, but this is one of the real funny cars that
and not only
still
that,
look like
leaf
cars.
springs on the front.
Yeah, you know.
That's pretty wild. And you got to love the stacks on the carburetors too. Those things are just amazing.
It's so characteristic of the period. You know,
well, you know, it just screams performance.
Yeah.
And yet today we're seeing a revival of muscle cars.
That is interesting, you know. And
who'd have thought that, Steve? You know, in the 70s we thought that's it.
Oh
it's
yeah,
dead.
we
It's
saw
never coming
magazine
back.
articles that go, okay, you better buy one now because you'll never see a fast car again. And they're faster than ever, and incredible. And now they handle as well, and they have the brakes and so on.
So you got a favorite here?
It's hard to say. No, I've been looking around, and I don't know which one I would pick. You know.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of cool to see the evolution of cars too. You know, here we're looking at a '67 Coronet. Right next to it is
71.
What's that? Cuda?
Yes.
Yeah. And so just in, what's that, 4 years time?
Well, you know, right. And also, while the pony cars came about, you know, and you have to give Mustang a credit to start it.
They created it.
And both the Camaro and the Challenger and Cuda were very significant for Chrysler. And in that car, you can see today's car, today's Challenger.
Yeah, you can.
You know,
They've done a great job.
Design elements. Yeah, it's a modern.
It's totally modern, yet totally reminiscent of the original.
Exactly.
So, hey, I'm going to have to cut you loose right now. I've got another interview to do, but we're going to catch up with you at the end of the show.
Okay,
yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Steve, thanks so much, man. Yeah. Okay. So let's come on over. So we just barge right in there, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'll be.
Here's somebody that we got to say hello to. Richard Rawlings, man. We've come to, you're on here live. You got to tell us about what you're doing here. We know all about Fast and Loud and Gas Monkey Garage, but why at the Dream Cruise?
Well, I'll tell you why. 707 horsepower and a 10.8 second car from the dealer right now. That's cool. This is the new 2015 Challenger SRT Hellcat. And it's a hell of a machine.
It is. So, I mean, you spend your whole time with your show doing all kinds of things to cars.
Yes, sir.
Would you ever do anything to this or just leave it as it is?
You know what? This car is absolutely perfect the way it is. I don't know how you could improve on it, to tell you the truth, other than putting me back in the driver's seat like I was earlier. But it's an awesome, awesome machine. And, you know, welcome back to the world of muscle cars, because this one just ushered in a whole new gig.
So I was just talking with the guy, Steve Pasteiner, who's another car nut like yourself, and asking him, we're seeing a muscle car revival right now. We thought that was dead and gone. What's the deal with it coming back in your view?
If this is the muscle car revival, then this is the pastor. Because this is one heck of a machine. But I mean, I think what's going on is people are getting back to their roots, and Dodge is at the forefront of it with their heavy Hellcat here. It's just kind of one-upmanship, and that's what kind of did it in the 60s, and hopefully that's what's going to do it now.
No, I think that's exactly right. I think this is going to drive others to try and top them.
Well, I tell you, Dodge is way ahead of the pack.
The Scat Pack.
Exactly.
So what do you make of the Dream Cruise? You've been here before, or is this new to you?
I haven't been here. This is new to me. I'm having a blast. There's a ton of cars. I mean, this is a very long cruise. I'm used to going to cruises where, it's maybe a mile or so. And what is this, like 20 miles of
I don't know.
cars?
It just goes on forever.
It does. But very nice people. I've had a blast so far. I haven't been able to buy anything yet, and everybody doesn't seem to want to sell, but I'm out here with some cash and trying to buy some cars.
Yeah, you better wear a mask. They see you coming, the price is going to go up.
I know, it does, right? That's why I brought Dennis. He's the money guy.
And it hasn't even gotten going yet. I mean, here we're still it's late Friday afternoon. Tonight's going to be nuts. Tomorrow is going to be out of this world.
Well, what we're hoping for is to see a lot of cool cars, maybe see some beautiful girls, and have a good time.
You're going to see both of them. You are, yeah. Cars and girls.
I tell you. So, what's next? What am I missing?
What's next? The only thing I can say is you got to go out at Woodward at some point and just watch what comes up and down, because you never know what's going to be there, and you'll be shocked by some of the things you see.
We've been out there all day, having a little fun with the Hellcat and checking everything out. So pretty cool cruise, and I'll tell you, much better weather than Texas right now. It's probably about 105 degrees there.
Well, the weather here is just about ideal for this thing.
Well, I know, but a couple of days ago, you guys almost had to bring boats.
Oh, yeah, you needed a canoe to get here practically. So what's new for you? What else from here? What?
Well, I'll tell you, we got the new season of Fast and Loud starting next Monday night. We're going to make a good long run all the way into the holiday season. We've got another big special coming like last year's Smokey the Bandit car. And so think a little bit of fun, a little bit of rivalry, and then a lot of people will be very, very happy to know that Tom is going to make it back on television. He's decided to start his own garage and try to be a gas monkey, if you will. So Tom and Jordan are out there doing their thing, and we're going to follow that. And then we've got Demolition Theater that's going to start. So hopefully around October, you'll have 3 hours of Gas Monkey programming on Monday nights. And
Discovery Channel.
And
you're a busy dude.
You know what? You got to strike when the iron's hot. And I'm very lucky and blessed to be where I'm at. So just going to keep going.
More power to you, man.
Yes, sir.
Cool seeing you here.
Right on. Good to see you.
Enjoy it all. Yeah. Cool. Okay, we're going to be back in just a minute with some more Woodward Dream Cruise. Woo!
Horsepower is like money. It won't make you happy. Wait, no. Yes, it will.
Where you want your first scratch, Craig? Your choice.
What are you doing with that key, Jake?
I'm thinking of scratching your car.
Well, you should stop thinking that.
You're a little bit too precious with it.
Don't touch my dart, Jake.
Come on, it's for your own good. You'll thank me later. Move out of the way so you don't get hurt. I mean it. It's gonna happen.
Jake.
Might as well be from a
Step
friend.
back, Jake.
Opinion, gossip, and true believers, plus cars, and more cars. Join us live each Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Autoline After Hours on Autoline.tv. That's Autoline After Hours, where performance meets opinion.
No, you'll have to share that one.
Yep, got it.
Well, it's cool to go through the whole Dodge display and look at everything they got here, but my favorite part is still out here at the street, because you never know what's going to come by.
That's it. We're at ground zero, 13 in Woodward. Everything is either parked here or it's going to drive by here tonight. It's wonderful. You see stuff that doesn't even exist in some cases. I saw a pickup truck, a Mack pickup truck, and I met the owner a few days ago. It started life as a fire truck. He bought it, he took off all the fire stuff and turned it into a baby blue pickup truck.
I still want to see the guy with the Cummins diesel, and what were you saying that was in?
It's in the frame of, it might be an old Auburn, I don't even remember for sure. It's 1,350 foot-pounds. It is canary yellow, so you will not miss it if it comes by, and you'll hear it as well.
Only 1,350 foot-pounds?
Yeah.
It's a modest little vehicle. It's a Cummins C12 over-the-road diesel put into a guy's kind of custom rod.
There was a guy, that car that ended up in the Nethercut collection out on the West Coast, that was an old Rolls, some sort of old Rolls frame, and they had put in it a Merlin.
Serious?
And it had a body that looked as though it was period designed in the late 30s. It looked like a Phantom 96. It was an amazing car. You'd see it at concours in LA. It's an amazing vehicle. Oh, two-tone.
A country sedan wagon. Yes.
No.
That's
no, a country sedan, not a country sedan wagon. A country sedan. Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Hall.
Sorry, it doesn't say country sedan wagon. Remember, Ford were the wagon masters, but they made
the Country Square
and
don't know
the country sedan,
Well,
and
that's the third one.
The Del Rio.
Oh yes.
Del Rio.
2 years only, 57, 58. Two-door wagon to compete with the Nomad. A horrible failure competing. It just didn't do it. But the Nomad, you remember, 57 was the last year of the serious Nomad, which was basically a two-door, frameless door glass, hardtop station wagon that was styled to look highly styled. And it was a fabulous vehicle, but the limit, it's a very thin market for those vehicles.
It was a fabulous vehicle, but they sold, I think, 2,000 of them, didn't they?
No, it was more than that, and it was in production actually for 3 years.
Oh, and here we go. Traffic has picked up again.
Yeah. So what's this?
Is this an old Ford?
44?
48, 49, 46, 47, 48. And that guy in that Chevelle should take it out a second.
Yeah.
Oh, and Cougar, a lot of Cougars out today, I see.
It's interesting because that looks as though it's posing as a Cougar Eliminator, but it actually is a stripe top. Fuselage Chrysler 300. Look at this copper convertible in the color that was marketed for a while as Turban Bronze Metallic. Honestly, because it was the color that they did some of those in the color of the Chrysler Turban car. That is one of my absolute favorite pieces of design. Look at the body sectioning on it.
Yeah.
It was over body. It's fabulous. It's got a lot of filler in it. Okay.
Yeah. Bathtub Porsche.
And the question is,
replica.
It's got a historic plate, which is
really?
It did. It has a historic plate on it. So
I assume they're all replicas.
So it's an old replica.
They're replicas are probably old enough.
Hey, here he is, Steve.
Jim has the mic.
Yeah.
Well, he had the mic,
and he wrested it from me. Join in.
So, what are we going to talk about?
We're talking about what's going by because there's cool stuff going by.
Well, there's the icon of the 50s or 60s rather,
with a proper historic plate, so we know that's not a fiberglass replica.
Well, okay.
And here's a 67.
An evolution of that one.
Yep.
You can see a good comparison between the two.
That's serious hood bulge there.
Very serious.
Yeah. You think maybe it's not stock?
No. Yeah, I'll bet it's not.
The hood is not stock,
And here, another icon.
Oh, Charger.
Yep, 1969 Charger. It's the second year of this body style. Split grille.
It's interesting how the body side is inspired today's Dodge Charger, where the fender and the rear fender intersect, so that's characteristic.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because when they resuscitated the Charger as a four-door sedan, it did not have that.
That's right.
And they went back and said it's important to tie it in with heritage. We got a question?
Okay, we got a question from the audience.
Well, yeah, we didn't get to get the ones for Steve here.
Oh, no.
Fred Coleman would like to know, in your opinion, what's the best looking car to cruise in?
Oh, you're really loading the question.
Yeah, that's too hard to do.
You can't do it.
Yeah, okay, you got another one?
The car that gets you the cool chick.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
LiveGuest 582 would like to know, what will happen to demand and value of the classics 20 years from now?
Good question.
Well, that's a good question, and we often think about it. It seems like cars are still interesting enough where people will maintain their interest, and I think their values will retain because there are so many other countries where the cars are something new to them. So that will retain the value for the most part.
If you look at the prices, though, of cars, there's a bulge of population they always follow.
Exactly, you know, and for instance, fewer people relate to a Model T now than they used to, or the Model A, and you wonder whether GTO, if this generation can relate to a GTO. But that's a question, you know. On the other hand, they are still such endearing vehicles, you know, and the character is there, the noise that they make, and the interactive quality, that chances are they will be loved forever.
61 Impala, my choice for the car to cruise in. Now, this one's a little bit low-ridered out for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I tell you, the wheels are a little...
Yeah.
You like the chrome suspension, though?
No, the chrome suspension, it's too hard to keep it polished. You got to crawl underneath it. 56 Buick. Now, the question is it a Roadmaster? It's got 4 ports.
It's got the 4 ports.
It's a Roadmaster. It's got the logo up on the base of the...
Well, then we know.
Fabulous.
And the point Steve was making about the collectibles, part of what's interesting is that now you're seeing, I mean, a 1988 is eligible for historic plates now. And you're seeing cars from the mid-80s that are being sort of cherished and dressed up one paycheck at a time by guys who are just beginning the hobby.
Look at the Studebaker. Look at the black Studebaker crossing the street there.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Mark, we were asking for Studebakers.
I was looking for Studebakers.
Look at that one, the black one that's stuck there.
Yep.
That's perfect.
That's pretty wild, you know, with the wrap-around. That was a Raymond Loewy.
Raymond Loewy,
Yep.
right, yeah.
And it had the bullet nose, and
That's
the
a
wrap-around
pre-bullet
window.
nose. See,
Well,
it's got the wrap. It's got the wrap.
It's still, that
Yep.
is the bullet nose
Yep.
body style.
And Loewy never actually worked for Studebaker. He was contracted, right?
He was contracted, you know, and Loewy actually never really designed in the real sense of drawing, but he took
Is that
credit.
right?
No, he was not a very good designer, drawer, not a very good draftsman.
Okay, yeah.
But he took credit for a lot of the people's design. You know, the so-called Loewy Coupe, the 53, that's a Bob Burke design, you know, but Loewy gets the credit.
And who's the guy that did the Avanti? Kellogg, Tom Kellogg.
Tom Kellogg, but that's more of a Loewy design, because if you look at, there was a
BMW.
There's a 507 BMW, and there's also a Lancia that had that similar with the spoiler up on top. So, no, here's a
CTSV Coupe.
All right.
Now, there is a classic. It's, oh boy.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it needs a wash, but you know what? If that's all it needs, they're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, but that's from the guy wearing the V-Coupe hat. Yeah.
Are you biased?
Yeah.
Actually, the big debate was whether I order a wagon or a coupe.
Well,
you know, and I like the coupe, but we carry people around, and that's the problem.
Hey, we got another question here from the audience.
Yes, Kyle Harper would like to know, what's your favorite design of a current vehicle?
Oh, it's another hard one. Come on, you guys.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
Actually, what you have to say is that design has matured to the level where even the mid-size sedans are, by and large, good designs. You know, and I guess personally, what I would like, I guess the Corvette is the new Corvette. I probably like to have. Other than that, you know, the standard answer: Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. You know, of course.
Those are easy to say. Yeah, those are so easy to say.
Now look at this, the Raymere 70.5 Firebird.
That's
cool.
A Formula.
That is, yeah. I had one of those. I was on Woodward. I was on Woodward with mine. I pulled up next to a 289 Mustang, and mine was a Formula 400. And we took off from the light together. And the guy looked really happy that he was keeping up with me, and then he looked and realized I was pulling a car hauler.
Yeah, that would take the edge off it.
It cost me a clutch, but damn, it was worth it, you know.
Comet Caliente.
Now look at,
oh my God, look at this.
But look at the Pinto.
The Pinto.
Yes.
I think the Pinto was a good design.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the body side on it,
yeah, no,
you know,
very Shinoda.
The Volkswagen
wheel-oriented.
The Volkswagen Scirocco essentially copied that silhouette, and so did
I never thought of that.
The Honda Civic coupes. You know, that was a Pinto design. You know, so can't knock the Pinto. A lot of people like to say, "Oh yeah, well, it's," but
no,
there's a lot to be said for that.
I remember when I was going to school in Santa Barbara in college, I saw one that was jacked up in the rear. It was painted black, and it had a target painted on the gas tank. You could see, which was we all laughed when we saw it. But you're like, wow.
Well, you're focusing on what actually gave it the bad name.
You're focusing on the one fatal flaw, Jim. But Steve's right. Part of what's great about this event is that somebody loves every car.
Oh,
And there's somebody who's going to take care of every car out
kind
there.
of wild. I saw a Pacer, okay?
Yes.
A black Pacer with
Pacers
oversized
are
wheels.
incredible design.
And the thing, well, it was considered to be very avant-garde at the time, and they had a Wankel engine designed for it.
Well, no, it was designed for the
door.
GM Wankel engine.
Right.
That's
And
why the car was designed.
One door was longer than the other, you know, so the passenger side, that's where you load the people. So there's a lot of good thinking in it, but the end result was somewhat awkward with the skinny wheels and tires, you know, so it didn't quite make it.
The Pacer directly influenced the design of the Porsche 928.
Don't go there. I've got a 928.
no, but
So now we
Tony
know the
Lapine
blame.
even mentioned it.
Well, you know, I think if you really want to look at the 928, look at a two-rotor Corvette, the GM two-rotor Corvette.
I'm talking about
on which
I'm talking about the rear quarter windows of the hatch.
Yes,
was
you look
inspired.
you look at that
tunnel roof on the two-rotor.
You look at the two-rotor, as well as Tony Lapine has worked on that two-rotor before he went to Porsche. So that's a small.
Hey, here's a car that I drove in high school. This Mustang Mach 1,
These are
71.
really cool with
Yep.
the fastback, you know.
We referred to that one as the limited visibility option because when you sat in it, it was hard to see out of the front, and the fastbacks were hard to see out of the back.
Well, if you want to switch lanes, just accelerate.
Look at this Camaro. That is awesome.
And take a look behind us. This is the new trend.
The Power Wagon.
And this is one of the new trends in collectibles. Old pickups, old SUVs. I was talking to people at Haggerty Insurance, who biggest insurer of collectibles. That's the fastest growing area right now.
No kidding.
Pickups, old SUVs.
But they got to look good because this thing looks sensational.
Now, look at the face level ventilation it has. That is impressive, okay? Just push the windshield open.
When my kids were 8 and 10, I bought them a World War II ambulance, a 1942 Dodge Power Wagon ambulance. And the thing of it is they could drive it because you didn't need to use the clutch. You put it in low range and then just jam on the shifter until the gears engaged and the thing would lurch to life, and then you're driving. And they would spend the afternoons doing figure eights on the back 20. We had some acreage at the time.
And if I can interrupt that for something horrible, we have a dog-faced nose on a shag-carpeted van going by. Yes.
That's the one I want to be cruising in. I want to cruise in that.
I'd be concerned it gets kind of hot under all the carpeting myself.
No kidding. Yeah, not for that.
Well, you can just scratch it. You know.
That's right. You don't take it to the car wash, you take it to the steam cleaner.
Collectible of the future.
Oh, the ELR.
An ELR. I mean, it is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous vehicle, and they're rare.
And
yep. And they're rare.
And they're rare.
Yep.
And likely to remain so.
Quiet.
Yeah,
that's a lovely design.
It's a wonderful car.
Yeah.
As you were talking about design earlier, one of the new differentiators, interior design, that we didn't give that much thought to that in the past. Now it's a big deal, and the ELR has that nailed.
Yeah.
I want to mention that 1960 Chrysler 300. If you look inside that, and it has that dome,
Astro dome.
dome interior, and the acrylic steering wheel, and that center console, and it's amazing how cool those things were, and we don't tend to pay attention to it. We just kind of walk past the car. Yeah, it's a cool car. But if you look inside it, some of the period design directions for interiors was phenomenal. Really.
Yeah. That was the first car, if memory serves, to use electroluminescent lighting in a car instead of using using actual incandescent.
And you still had the push button
push button transmission.
Yeah.
Even the dogs like the Dream Cruise.
I think so.
Sparky looks hot.
Okay, what's this? This is
That is it is a 59 Pontiac, the car with wide track wheels.
Yeah. And that was really the first split grill Pontiac that really set the.
So this is what John DeLorean and Bucky Newton
did. You look at this front and that front, and here's the ultimate evolution of that front with the split grill.
Yeah,
that was a Bunky Knudsen car.
Yeah.
You see everything here. My God.
This is amazing. Yeah,
and here's a Volkswagen posing as some sort of a retro car.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to be a Jaguar. Perhaps there's a Jaguar right on the hood. That's about as close as it is.
It's got
the real thing, right?
Moggy three-wheeler.
That's
all right.
That's a
no
Mopar.
English.
That's a Citroen 2CV engine and running gear.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's sort of a Morgan.
And I love these full-out dragsters coming down here. I mean, now we're getting back to what it was like back in the 60s, where people came out to really run their cars here.
they would come at a time though where the traffic was not quite this heavy.
No, it
you
doesn't
know,
work. Right.
And you kind of had to shut it down by the time you got into third gear. You did have to shut it down because Royal Oak started an ordinance that any kind of drag racing was $500.
Which was serious. That was a car back then.
Serious money back then. I had a split window coupe that I paid $850 for it. I'll believe it or not. But back then it was just an old Chevy.
You paid $850 for the car, and the speeding tickets were $500. That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, that's like getting air conditioning in a '55 Chevy.
Yeah.
But you're telling us, Steve, that strict enforcement and heavy fines is a honored part of the tradition in Royal Oak. It's not something they just added for the new Dream Cruise.
Only now it even includes parking.
But I mean, the thing of it is, it is nice. I think in a way this show has matured where you don't do as many burnouts, you don't do as many speed passes and so on. And I think there's an element of safety. In order for a continued life and popularity of this show, you have to make sure that safety is a major issue. And
no, that's right. Especially with everybody in their lawn chairs sitting out at the side of the road.
And in that sense, I think
Supersonic blue. I love that color.
Nice color. Yeah.
I was talking last year to the Royal Oak Chief of Police, and I asked him if he got tired of all of the criticism they take, and he said, 19 years, no serious injuries. That's what I don't get tired of.
King Midget.
Oh my God.
King Midget.
Wow.
Hey, I'll bet. Yeah, and I'll bet you there are 50 split bumper Camaros out here, and I'll bet you there are probably one or two King Midgets. Okay. We can wait here. In 5 minutes, we'll see another split bumper Camaro. We will.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll give you that.
That's the thing. The stuff you see here, you don't see anywhere else.
No, in fact, that's the best part of the show. And look at us just standing here like kids talking about what's going by. And that's what I like. You can do this all day long till your brain explodes. You just get too much visual overload.
They were cleaning that up there. It was very messy when the guy's brain exploded.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hey, guys, I got to thank you up. We're going to wrap this up. Mark Phelan, awesome having you here. Jimmy Hall, great seeing you, man.
Good seeing you again.
Yeah, Steve Pasteiner, thanks so much for your knowledge and everything. Been brilliant. Folks, we got to wrap it up here. We got to thank our sponsors in addition. Also want to thank Richard Cox from Dodge, Tricia Hecker from Mopar, Richard Rawlings from Fast and Loud, and of course the three guys that were just here with me. Hope you liked the show as much as we did. We'll be back with After Hours at our normal time next week. Been cool. From Woodward Avenue Dream Cruise, McElroy signing out.
What better way to sign out? Drive out.
Oh, I'm going out I'm going out on.
Autoline Live from Woodward Avenue is brought to you by our signature sponsor, Dodge, Born Dodge, and Mopar. For more information, visit mopar.com, and also by TI Automotive, Fluid Thinking.